Hello and welcome to another Looking at Stuff video, and in this one we're going to be talking about lists. I happen to really like list making. It's just a way of cataloging my own thoughts and beliefs, feelings about things. And I really like sharing these kinds of thoughts with other people, finding out where they agree or disagree. It's just a way to have conversation and exchange ideas. And one thing that I haven't made a list on in a very long time is favorite horror directors. So, this is a list I used to maintain maybe 15 years ago, and I kind of just haven't thought about it in a long time, but I have a feeling over the years my thoughts have changed. New horror directors have appeared, and part of the fun of it is not just making the list in order, but being able to challenge my memory to see how many I can remember just off the top of my head, because I will not be using any research methods for this. The way I see it is, if I can't remember their name, they probably don't matter that much to me. That statement may bite me in the ass, but maybe it won't. So, a ground rule to start with is what is a horror director? At least 3 of their movies must be horror. So you may be thinking, now, Jared, that completely discounts the great Charles Laughton, whose Night of the Hunter is his sole film and is technically horror adjacent. Therefore, since it's a complete oeuvre, it is horror adjacent. That kind of makes him. It doesn't matter. I don't care. That's great for Charles Laughton. I'm not including him. You may also say, well, Jared, that discounts F.W. Murnau, who's basically the inventor of the horror genre with his masterpiece Nosferatu. And I'm well aware. However, that's really his only horror film. You may want to count The Haunted Castle. The Haunted Castle is not a horror film, it's more of a mystery. You may want to count Faust. Faust is also not a horror movie, it's really more of a fantasy, a very beautiful film. Murnau made one of my favorite movies, Sunrise. Sunrise is definitely not a horror movie. I understand the ground rules count out a lot of people that horror fans love. And you know what? IDGF. So, and a little A. So let's get started. Okay, and again, this is not in order yet. The idea is just to get names out there, and then I can add order later. So, number 1, John Carpenter. And this one's easy because I can already tell you he is my number 1. Wes Craven. George Romero. Dario Argento. Mario Bava. Lucio Fulci. Toby Hooper. Edgar Wright. James Whale. Todd Browning. James Wan. Sion Sono. Takashi many people know Pete, but he's good. Norman J. Warren. Don Dollar. Terrence Fisher. Freddie Francis. These were both Hammer film directors. I don't know all of the guys from Hammer, but because I'm not that big of a fan, but these are the two I like. Umberto Lenzi. See, Sergio Martino. And who's the guy who made Cannibal Holocaust? I always forget his name. But I don't know if I think he made other horror movies. I'll just leave him out then. Doesn't matter. Oh. Bruno Mattei? I don't really know. Let's see. Oh, of course. Lamberto Bava. You can tell I like the Italians. Michele Soavi. Should probably get some French in here too. Oh, what's his name? The guy who made High Tension. There's another name I always forget. I'll just write High Tension guy. Because he also made, what is it? He also made The Hills Have Eyes remake and Mirrors. Let's see. Oh. Jordan Peele now counts as of Nope. He's made 3. Mike Flanagan. Getting some of the newer guys in here. Oh boy. I almost forgot. David Cronenberg. I even have his poster in here, Videodrome. Who else are we missing? I feel like I'm missing probably some important ones here. Well, Fred Olen Ray. He made Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers. Jim Wynorski. Now, of course, there are some filmmakers who have made like tons of horror movies, like Jess Franco and David Dakota. I am not going to even include them on the list because about 99% of their oeuvre is absolute garbage and not worth your attention. So, ground rule number 2 is only included if you don't suck. Now that doesn't mean because someone's forgotten on this list that they do suck. It just means I'll only include your stuff if it's of some sort of quality. Otherwise, there's no point. In fact, I probably should cross off Wynorski, but I really like some of his early stuff, so he stays. But most of Wynorski's stuff is garbage. Who else? I don't know if I should include Spielberg or Cameron. Their stuff that's horror is really more kind of sci-fi or adventure. Even Hitchcock, he's really only, I mean, if you count The Lodger, The Birds, Psycho, Frenzy, I guess Hitchcock gets included. David Lynch, I really think only Lost Highway is really kind of a horror movie. The others are just kind of, so I will not be including David Lynch, even though he's like one of my favorites. we're getting down to the wire here. Oh man, I almost forgot. Scott Derrickson. He's a good one. I don't know if the lighthouse guy really counts. I mean, the witch and the lighthouse are kind of horror. I don't think any the Northman is, so we'll just leave him out. The Midsummer guy, he's only done 2, so I can leave him out, which is good because I think he's overrated. So, just looking around at my posters to see if there's anyone I obviously missed. Someone I should feel guilty about missing. I guess I should include Charles Band. Full Moon guy, I don't know. Oh, I did miss an important one. Only one of the greatest of all time, Roman Polanski. See, this is why you gotta stop and just think a little bit. In my, Mick Garris, Don Coscarelli, did all the Phantasm movies. Oh man, what's his name? He did Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, and It. The original, and I can't remember his name, so I'll just leave it like that. High tension guy. Sometimes I just don't remember names. There are so many names. Steve Miner. I think Osgood Perkins counts because he's done 3 now. What about Mary Harron? I think she's only done American Psycho and the Moth Diaries. I don't know. It's a question mark. Darren Lynn Bousman. I don't remember how you spell his name, but I'll take a crack at it. I'm sure I'm forgetting all kinds of directors here. Here's something to help me think. Ridley Scott. I think the only horror he's done has been in the Alien series, but that's 3. Alien, Prometheus, and Covenant. I used to not like Ridley Scott when I was younger, but since I've grown older, I've chastised my old self because Ridley Scott is really, really brilliant. Just this powerful visual. Sure, I'm leaving out lots of stuff. And again, I'm leaving out some directors that I may not know very well, like Armando de Osorio, who did The Blind Dead. I'm not really that familiar with his work. Let's see, because I haven't watched the Blind Dead series. Or Jose Larraz. I've only really seen Edge of the Axe. I haven't seen any of his weirder movies like Symptoms, so you may be wondering, how do you know all these movies if you haven't seen them? And, that's a good question. Not really sure. Just kind of stumble into these things. Oh, Sam Raimi, what is the matter with me? How did I forget him? See, this is why you have to go back and think, okay, so I may have forgotten some really good, if I can forget Sam Raimi, I can forget anyone. So, bear that in mind. Okay, time to start putting an order on things. So John Carpenter is my number one, easily, because, most horror directors are lucky if they've done a single masterpiece. Like Tobe Hooper, Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a masterpiece. But then he also has a lot of duds, right? Like if you've seen, say, Night Terrors, or Mortuary, or The Mangler, or I don't know, this movie about a cursed dress. I think it's called I Feel Dangerous or something, or I'm Dangerous. A lot of duds. John Carpenter, just about every movie he made from 79 to 2000 is a masterpiece, with the exception maybe of Escape from LA, and the Children of the Damned remake. But you have Halloween, The Fog, Christine, The Thing, In the Mouth of Madness, They Live, and I'm leaving some out, but just right there. That's 6 straight masterpieces right there. And then there's some that are minor masterpieces, like Escape from New York, Big Trouble in Little China. So it's just incredible the content John Carpenter put out there. Wes Craven. See, now number 2 is a lot harder to pick because a lot harder. Let's see, because I know I grew up watching mostly Craven, Romero, Raimi. I'm thinking. I really like Cronenberg's stuff, but I also really dislike a lot of it. His early work. James Whale, of course. Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein. I want to, I may have broken the rules for him. I'm not sure he made a third horror movie. If that's the case, all I can say is, oops. Todd Browning, Freaks, Devil Doll, Dracula. Gee. I guess I'm gonna give it to, I don't know. Give it to like they're getting anything out of it. I'm just kind of thinking of who's brought me the most joy. Maybe I should do this different. Maybe I should think logically. Who's the best? Just in my opinion, not necessarily based on who I like watching. I don't know. Probably Roman Polanski. The Ninth Gate is one of my favorite movies ever. It's one of the, you know how you tend to have a go to sleep movie. This is just a movie you put on to kind of, it's your comfort movie. The Ninth Gate is one of mine. Let's see. I know a lot of younger people probably think Jordan Peele should be right up at the top, but I think he's doing really, really good stuff, but he has a long way to go before he Shyamalan. I think Jordan Peele is about on an equal level with Shyamalan in terms of the modern directors. He's one of the more deeply in tuned with cinematic technique, like Shyamalan, and he knows the history, he knows the techniques, and he has really good ideas, but he also steals a lot of his ideas. And so, like in Get Out, I think the teacup scene is the most original. It's really the only truly original thing in that movie. While he gets a lot of praise for the social commentary, Wes Craven was doing the same thing in the 90s. Even though Wes Craven is not black, The People Under the Stairs covers very similar themes as Get Out. Us, I thought, was a mess riddled with plot holes, but it was also extremely entertaining. And Nope is really a beautiful and disturbing movie. I think it's his best movie, and if he keeps developing in that way, he's just gonna, one of these days, just gonna blow our minds with something. But he's still not on a level with guys like Carpenter or Craven for me. Let's see. So I put Polanski at 2. Let's see. I think Raimi for 3. Even though he got away from horror, Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, and his return to horror, Drag Me to Hell, is just, it's not. There are some things that are kind of weird about it. I think it might be the pacing, or the characters don't quite grip you as much, but the way he plays with the audience and with his main characters, throwing so much stuff at them, he abuses his main characters so much, and it's really what makes his movies so much fun. They're really funny, but while being so over the top. And I think Alison Lohman gets so much gross stuff, dumped in her mouth in this movie. Probably the weirdest thing is that, maybe her character doesn't really react that much to it. That's kind of a problem. Let's see. I still have a hard time considering Hitchcock a horror director, even though Psycho and I don't like The Birds, actually, so that's part of a problem. The Lodger is a silent film, so it's hard to judge that. Frenzy is really more of a thriller, so it's really hard to include Hitchcock on this list, and I'm just going to cross him out. I'm going to go with my first instinct and cross him out. I think out of I really would like Scott Derrickson, I think, is probably my favorite out of the newer horror directors. Panos Cosmatos is someone I would like to include on this list, but he's only done 2 movies so far. So, and there's the guy who did It Follows, David Mitchell. I would like to include him, but again, I'm not gonna break my own rules. I got too much of that integrity, you know. Let's see. Okay, so I got Carpenter, Polanski, Raimi. I think Argento is my fourth, even though. So Argento is a strange case because his finest movies were all made with Daria Nicolodi, who was his partner at the time, you know, kind of like a wife. They may or may not have been married, I don't know, but she's Asia Argento's mother. And all of his best movies were made with her. In fact, she wrote them. She wrote Suspiria with him, and she was in his best movies. I mean, so her presence always signals the good Argento movies. And when she's absent, the movies, since she left him, all of his movies have been pretty bland. So I think she was really the creative force behind the screenplays. She came up with the sort of interesting characters and scenarios and such. And Argento's the stylist. He was the one who made it look really cool on film. But I don't know. Or maybe it's just depression. Maybe he never got over her. Who knows? But you know, after I think after Tenebrae, his movies kind of stop having the same power they used to have. Let's see. It's very difficult. As much as I love Tobe Hooper when he's good, when he's bad, he's really bad. I really like Todd Browning's stuff. Let's see. I think ranking, I like making lists, but actually ranking them starts to get really difficult because, you know, it's very easy to overthink this. I should have just talked it out while I was going through them instead of doing it now. I really did not like Last Night in Soho. It was quite a disappointment. I think it was just, it had some nice visuals, but the whole thing was just pretty banal. I am interjecting here from the future to say I completely forgot to mention I knew I was going to forget someone, but this one stings. Larry Cohen. He made The Stuff, Return to Salem's Lot, It's Alive. I don't really like those movies, but God told me to cue The Winged Serpent, but if you haven't seen it, The Stuff, the greatest movie about a killer creamy dessert that has ever been made. If you're like me, you found it in a video store when you were a kid, and it changed your life. I also forgot to mention one of John Carpenter's masterpieces, Prince of Darkness. Oh boy. You know what? Sharpies and napkins, not friends. I think this may actually be the scariest movie John Carpenter ever made. Not his best, but his scariest. So, anyway, this is me checking out from the future. You may return to the present. Okay, thanks, bye. I mean, a whole lot of Fulci stuff is pretty awful. include Bava. I guess Romero would be my sixth. Craven would be my seventh. This guy would be my eighth. Let's see. Fredel and Ray would be my ninth. And that's not objective in any way. He's made a lot of really fun movies like Hollywood, Chainsaw, Hookers, Beverly Hills Vamp, which is Eddie Deason fighting sexy vampires in Beverly Hills at a whorehouse. The Phantom Empire, which is very difficult to describe, but basically a salvage team is hired to go into these caves and recover treasure from a lost civilization. And then they find basically Morlocks in there, and running from the Morlocks, they end up in basically the Lost World where there are dinosaurs and cave women, and the cave women capture them, and the leader of the cave women is a giant busty Amazon with a sword, but she's also an alien and she has a spaceship, and there are robots. Like I said, it's difficult to describe. See. Oh, Alienator. That's a good one. Biohazard. Scalps. His attempt at a sort of mystical slasher that didn't really work out. I like it, but not a lot of people do. Deep Space. So he's made a lot of B movies. They're all B horror movies. They're very independent, but they're also really entertaining. And I was introduced to him by something called, wait, that's not visible on camera, the Incredibly Strange Film Show. It was hosted by Jonathan Ross, and it's based on there is a series of I guess you'd call magazines, publications called Incredibly Strange Films, or it's just called Incredibly Strange. I don't remember exactly, but they covered a lot of interesting past movies, and Jonathan Ross, when he was younger, made this series of documentaries where he interviews Fredel and Ray, Jackie Chan, Sam Raimi, Doris Wishman, Ted V. Michaels, Ray Dennis Steckler, all these creators of very idiosyncratic films, and always like very independent B-picture. Herschel Gordon Lewis, of course. That was another one he covered. The Godfather of Gore. And most people don't think of him this way, but he was really funny. Like, his movies are just ridiculous, but he knows they're ridiculous. Particularly the Gore Girls and the Gruesome Twosome are my ones I recommend. But anyway, yeah, let's see. Oh, Cronenberg. So I really dislike his older stuff, like The Brood and Shivers, Rabid, but I really like Videodrome and Existence. The Fly is pretty good. Scanners. So I don't know. I can't make him 10. Lamberto Bava made Demons, so that puts him high on my books. Let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and put Scott Derrickson at 10 because he's continued to impress me with The Black Phone, Sinister, and let's see. Pete Walker, most people aren't familiar with. He's a British director from the 70s, and he was independent. He wasn't associated with Hammer or anything like that. And he made these very unusual slashers, usually starring Sheila Keith as the villain. Basically, she looks like your grandma, but she's an amazing actress. And if you want to watch anything by him, Frightmare is what I recommend. Ridley Scott. I think I'll put Peele at 12. Suave. No, Lamberto Bava at 13. Actually, no. I haven't included Mario Bava yet. I can put his son at 4. Shyamalan, 15. Probably missing someone. Toby Hooper, 16. I think that's quite enough. Oh, right. Coscarelli just for Phantasm. The first Phantasm, they kind of become impossible to understand the further they go, but... Oh, of course, he also made John Dies at the End. You know, now that I think about it, I should put him higher up, but, too late. 19. Alright, well, that's good enough. I hope you enjoyed this. If you like list making, I can do many, many more lists. And please do let me know your favorite horror movies in the comments. Like, subscribe, and, keep on looking at stuff.